What's the unintentionally funniest thing you've ever heard a child say? I was working as a substitute teacher at Lincoln Elementary last spring when this happened. It was during science class, and I was teaching a group of second graders about different animals and their habitats. The lesson was going pretty smoothly until we got to the section about farm animals. I was showing them pictures of cows, pigs, chickens, and sheep, explaining where each animal lives and what they eat. That's when little Tommy, this 7-year-old kid with messy brown hair and glasses that were way too big for his face, raised his hand with the most serious expression I'd ever seen on a child. "Mr. Davis," he said in this very matter-of-fact tone, "I need to tell you something important about my grandpa's farm." I figured he was going to share some cute story about visiting his grandparents over the summer, so I said, "Sure, Tommy, what would you like to tell us?" Tommy stood up at his desk like he was about to make an official announcement to the United Nations. He cleared his throat and said, "My grandpa has a very special cow that makes chocolate milk." The other kids immediately got excited, asking questions like, "Really? And how does it work?" I was about to gently explain that chocolate milk comes from regular milk with chocolate added to it, but Tommy wasn't finished. He held up his hand to quiet the class and continued, "But that's not the best part. Grandpa also has a strawberry cow that makes pink milk and a vanilla cow that makes extra white milk." At this point, I'm trying not to laugh because Tommy is completely serious about this. He's not joking around or trying to be funny. In his mind, this is just factual information he's sharing with the class. But then it got even better. Little Emma, who sits in the front row and always has her hand raised, said, "Tommy, that doesn't sound right. Cows don't make different flavored milk." Tommy looked at her like she was the crazy one and replied, "Emma, you obviously don't know about special farm cows. My grandpa has been doing this for like 100 years. "How old is your grandpa?" asked another kid named Michael. Without missing a beat, Tommy said, "He's probably around 300 years old, maybe 400. I don't know exactly because he stopped counting after 200. The whole class erupted in giggles, but Tommy just stood there looking confused about why everyone was laughing. He genuinely believed every word he was saying. I decided to play along and asked, "Tommy, what other special animals does your grandpa have on his farm?" His eyes lit up like Christmas morning. "Oh, he's got chickens that lay colored eggs based on what they eat. If they eat blueberries, they lay blue eggs. If they eat carrots, they lay orange eggs. And," he continued, getting more animated, "he has a pig that's actually really smart and helps him count all the other animals. The pig's name is Professor Bacon, and he wears tiny glasses just like mine." At this point, I'm barely holding it together. The mental image of a pig wearing glasses and working as a farm accountant was too much. But Tommy wasn't done sharing the wonders of his grandfather's magical farm. The best animal, though, is the horse that can do math. Grandpa asks him questions like, "What's 2 plus 3?" And the horse stomps his foot 5 times to give the answer. Emma raised her hand again and said, "Tommy, I think your grandpa might be telling you stories that aren't real." Tommy looked genuinely shocked by this suggestion. "Emma, why would grandpa lie to me? He's never lied about anything ever. He told me Santa Claus isn't real and that was true. He told me vegetables taste bad and that was true too." The logic was flawless from a 7-year-old's perspective. I finally had to step in and gently explain that sometimes grown-ups tell fun stories that aren't exactly true and that Tommy's grandpa was probably just being creative and entertaining. Tommy thought about this for a long moment, then said, "So you're telling me that Professor Bacon the pig can't actually read?" "Probably not," I replied. Tommy sighed deeply and said, "Well, that explains why grandpa does all the paperwork himself." After class, I called Tommy's mom to share the story. Turns out his grandfather is a retired comedian who loves entertaining his grandson with elaborate tall tales. Tommy believes every single story because in his words, grandpa is the smartest person in the whole world, so everything he says must be true. The mom told me that last week Tommy asked her why their regular grocery store milk wasn't chocolate flavored if it came from chocolate cows. She had to break the news that most cows just make regular white milk. Tommy's response was, "Well, I guess not every farmer is as good as grandpa." The kid's faith in his grandfather's magical farming abilities was absolutely unshakable, and honestly, it was the most wholesome thing I'd ever witnessed.